What's going on, guys? In this video, I'm actually going to be taking you behind the scenes of one of our events back in October. I hope you learn how to market your business in 2023.
Awesome, guys. All right, so what I'm going to be covering today is what I like to call our Stealth Patient Attraction System. So today's pretty simple. I'm going to go over who I am, 27, from Chicago. Have spent $1 million plus on ads, easily between ourselves plus clients. So when we go over stuff and talk about stuff, it's really based on tested items, based on some of the stuff you all are running, based on some of the stuff we run on the side, everything in between. So basically I learned what I'm about to show you, not because I had some crazy story about back against my wall, back against the wall, needing help or anything like that. I'm sure all of you have been to events where the speakers are like, oh my God, I was dirt poor and then I figured out this thing, and you have the great hero's journey story and all that stuff. That's not who I am. That's not what I came from. Came from a very basic middle-class life. Parents did middle-class stuff and got what I wanted for Christmas, and it was a good time. So I basically just strive to have amazing services, amazing products, and just have fun throughout the experience too as well. So really quick, as some of you have already reached different awards and different things like that, we do have different clubs and just results of people that I'm going to go through really quick. So based on everything I've learned, taught, done, etc., these are people who've actually reached into what we call our 10K per month club. So we have Jeanette over there. Jeanette's out of Wisconsin, down in Racine. And Jeanette, that's when she reached over 10K per month. She was doing like 2 or 3K per month when she first started with us. Sean here, who's out of the San Diego area, was doing about 1K per month, now over 10K per month. Actually does about like 20-ish, and I'm sure Sean has grew since then. Still part of the program, just don't talk to him as too much currently just because of growth. 25K per month. Eric, this is a good old photo we still have of you. We need a new one. Mr. Broadworth, yeah, when you tore your rotator cuff, right? Pec, yeah. So this is when Mr. Broadworth tore his pec. He's over 50K per month now with it, so need an updated photo there. Dr. Matt, he is out of Southern Florida. He's a chiro as well, passed over 25K per month. And then we just have Scott here, Gardner, who runs a physical franchise, over 250K per month, and then a bunch of other wins, and some of you guys might know some of these names. We got Mark here. Mark, I get a lot of compliments on this photo, by the way, man. This is in our onboarding slide, and people laugh at this every single time, so I've kept it. Monique there, who is out of just north of Miami, I want to say Weston, Florida. That's a couple wins that she got, closing some neuropathy patients. Mark again at the bottom. This is actually from this past week, Mark. Literally this Wednesday when you posted it. So, guys, if you do post these, really quick plug, I encourage you to post them. We use them for different things. It's really, really cool. So if you have a good experience with us and you post a win, I'd enjoy it. Keep going. Cool, guys. So when you look at marketing and sales as a whole, it can be broken down into basically these. If you really want to break it down into 5 easy components, these are the 5 easy components. You get a lead, you need them to schedule, you need them to show up, you need them to convert, and then you need them to retain and keep coming back month over month over month. And then if they move on from your program, some people call it graduate, how do you stay in touch with that person over time again? What we're going to be going over today, honestly, is just mostly the lead. Colin covers a lot of these other things with his presentations. I'm going to stick in my lane on this one, and I'll just talk about leads. And who's ready to dive in? Raise your hands. We're going to do that. We're going to do that right now, though. Yeah, let's go. Mike, you love that stuff at meetings, don't you? When they say raise your hand. Oh, favorite thing.
Very engaging.
All right, so what we're going to cover, who do we want to market to? What makes a good offer? How we will get in front of the right market, basically the vehicle we use. In this sense, there's multiple different types of vehicles we'll talk about, from advertising to text messages to everything in between. How we'll tie the vehicle and offer to ultimately generate more patients. And my goal is basically to give you guys actionable steps, just like Colin said, that you could go into next week and be like, cool, we have more patients. What do we need to do? All right, so first thing is, who do we need to market to? There are 3 core groups. I talk about this with everybody, and these are the 3 core groups as always. You got current and past patients. This is always your most fruitful. These are the people that should be coming back in your doors consistently, time over time over time. We have referrals. When I break this down, I'm not talking about doctor referrals as we all think. This is gonna be about everything. Basically besides that, we'll talk on some doctor referrals, but it won't mostly be about that by any means. And then community. So getting engaging in that. I know some people are engaged in the community, some are not. I still push that to this day, just because I do think it's fruitful if you just give it some time. So first things first, now that we know who we want to market to, the next question is, what do we even offer them? First thing is, we gotta understand what an offer is, guys. We're gonna go over what makes an offer, what is a killer offer, examples of offers. So first things first, what is an offer? Literally the dictionary definition. Present something for someone to accept or reject as desired. So we literally have to put something out there that says, hey, do you want this thing? You could say yes or no. That is an offer at its true core. That's all an offer means. An offer is offering someone physical therapy services and making an agreement of what will be performed and for how much. So, how I always put it, I actually summed this up more last night. It was like 3 lines long. I was just like, how do we make this simplistic? It's a direct response ad, meaning we are offering X thing to help X type of people. If you want X, fill this out. That's your offer. You literally, go back. Literally your offer is this thing right here. And then, do you want to fill this out, yes or no? And then when they come in the door again, you have another offer. Here's what you're actually going to get. Do you actually want me to perform services? Yes or no? So there's offers and agreements along the whole entire process, from lead to schedule to show and so on. Agreements. We're always making micro agreements along the way. You are also in charge of telling them how to do the action you want them to take. So many times, as a whole, whether it's marketing, whether it's sales, the biggest issue is people just don't tell people what you want them to do. You expect people to know, which I've run into by all means, and not tell them, hey, watch this video, fill out this form, do this thing. We have to tell them what to do consistently in order for them to take the action we want them to take, because people innately just don't know, what do I do next? It takes a little, so this thing right here. So basically, the goal of this offer is we want them to invest a little bit to make a big proportionate back. A little bit of time to get X thing at a higher proportion. The biggest one I could think of for almost everyone sitting in this room right now is, let's just think, everyone here but maybe Evan runs stuff for neuropathy. A patient comes in, they put in some time, but the result they get is massive, right? That's like, you put some time in at home, you come to our office, you see us. And it's a long experience, but the overall time factor to get the result they want is basically proportionate to the outcome, and it's over proportionate from there, and that's how people can charge $6,000, $6,500, $7,000 for something like that, is because you are giving them a little bit of an investment to get a big result. And then I always go over the offer line. I talk about this at everything, so even last year's event, I think everyone should understand this. This was done by good old Dan Kennedy. If you don't know who Dan Kennedy is, read some of his books, basic marketing stuff. He is super old, but super good. So there are 3 sides of Dan Kennedy's thing. We have low threshold, middle, and high threshold. Low threshold are your reports. So for instance, a knee pain report, a foot pain report. Dan actually sits a lot of times in the report realm. One of the companies he worked with was Proactive. He was their marketing specialist. And something Proactive did a lot of times was they just educated the market. They gave them, hey, here's some material if you want to learn about Proactive. People read about Proactive, and then they did the thing. There's another company called, it's like an awning company, I can't think of the name of it, for homes, Sun and Awning or whatever. And it was like, hey, here's some material about Sun and Awning. They had a video, watched the video, people bought the thing. So once again, when you're putting like a sales video for neuropathy, let's say, hey, watch this video, they learn about the thing, they want the product. So. Middle of the road, free consultations. The reason why I put this kind of middle is we'll see what I consider high threshold is. Now a lot of times we tell people play from middle to high, depending on what they are trying to accomplish. So free consults are awesome. It gets people in the doors. You just got to know how to convert from there. That does rely more on a good sales process from it, but totally doable. I know people are back and forth on it. I think the worst thing you can do is just sit in the middle, just choose something, go with it, figure it out. It's gonna be honest. A lot of times that's what the issue is. People just get in their heads and don't make decisions. High ticket thresholds, or high thresholds, those would be our paid consults. The reason why those are high threshold is because that is literally we are paying to come in. The reason why I put middle is you still have to go to your office. High threshold is like, hey, you have to pay, then you have to drive over here, you have to park, take time, etc. That's why reports are super low threshold, because they can just read it about their day, go about their business.
Hey Dan, can you repeat that line about being in the middle and not moving anywhere?
Yeah.
And comfort levels?
Don't do it, Dan. Keep moving.
No, this is good. This is what I want them to, when they go home, this is something for them to talk about then. Yeah, I think a lot of times people just go like back and forth on, do I just offer free consults? Do I do paid consults? It's like, just make a decision and go for it. Because the worst thing you can do is just sit in the middle and just not make a decision on either or. It's just like, hey, we're going to do this thing, and then we're going to go all out on it and give it 3 months, 6 months, etc.
So would you say that done is better than perfectly done perfectly?
Yes.
Okay.
Love it.
Just
And then the time frame, when you change direction and you're going to do something, a week, a month, 3 months, what is the very good outcome to say, hey, this was working or it sucks?
We probably give stuff 6 months easily, 3 to 6 months. Easily 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
With some little bit of levels of success in 3 months, we'll easily go to 6 months and then make some decisions based off of that. For instance, now, like the product, like 7-Figure Clinic, it has evolved by all means, but this has been the same offer and product for the last 2.5 years, that we had some level of success up front, and then we developed it, made it better, etc. And then it's like, cool, where's the market going? Then we change it a little bit from here. So that's why we have a brand new rollout coming out in basically Q1.
Are you talking about ads? Like,
What's that?
how long you wait?
Yeah, was that about ads products?
Yeah, we're going to do like the paid consults versus the free consults. That's what we're back.
Oh, I'd give that 3 months. 3 months, because you got to learn a sales process.
Yeah.
It's going to be different for whether or not your girl up front is good or your guy up front is good. The sales process is just going to be unique, not uniquely different, but it's just a little bit different for them to talk about. They're going to have to actually overcome some base objections on price points, etc., things like that.
Another option is to do the beta test, run both ads.
Yep.
So you have some distinction, so you know if they're coming in for free or if they came in for the paid, and then see what your conversion is. And if there's a difference in your conversion, then we the other one out.
The only thing is be ready for people that did say paid, they see a free ad, and that's the only thing that you're going to hit in some potential issues with that.
Right, because what if someone sees both of them?
Just tell
Yep.
them it was my mistake. You'll do it for the
Yeah. Yeah, in that situation, it's just you got to be comfortable to be uncomfortable with the conversation and just be like, hey, Joe, totally understand that you saw that. Like, we'll totally honor it. We are bumping into it.
You just say, my marketing guy. That's what I do. I go, my marketing guy, I gotta get on
I
that.
actually do a 5 to 7 minute freebie.
Yeah.
And then if you want me to look at your records and deep dive and pull up my infrared camera for talking about neuropathy, that's the paid business.
Got it.
So if you want me just to kind of see if you're a candidate, then we're just going to spend, and I tell them right up from the get-go, this is a 5 to 7 minute, you saw my waiting room, I just want to see if you are a candidate, then we can bring you back and start the process. I don't know anything different, but then the paid ad is going to be a sit down in my consult room, TV, all out, I'm going to look at your records, I'm really going to take a deeper dive. So if somebody comes in and says, I paid $49 for this, but literally yesterday my friend showed me a free one. Absolutely, it's completely different. If you want the free one, it's 5 to 7 minutes. I was going to look through all these notes that you brought in today and actually see if it's something we can do and come up with a treatment plan. I don't do that on the free one. Then you're done.
Got it.
I love it. That's good.
I go back. Only if they ask. Like if they come in and they're complaining that, hey, I paid for this, but I saw a free one this morning on my way in here. Oh yeah, you can have either one. It's up to you. So I just throw it right back on that.
I like that.
Paid, we can do the deep dive. I have the time carved out for you, which I usually do a 15 to 20 minute. Got it.
Yeah. I would say even from like an ads perspective and all that though, if you just want like an easy baseline, 3 months. You just want like, whether it's a product, ads, all that stuff, just because there's so many moving parts. I mean, we've seen it so many times too. People give stuff a week, 2 weeks inside of our program, and then it's just like, this didn't work. It's like, cool, we just ran some ads. Your sales process is awful. Let's fix that next. And then it's like, oh, okay, this is better now. And it's like another 2 weeks, right? And then it's like, cool, now we're getting people in the doors. Why can't we convert them? Cool, your sales process is messed up inside. Let's look at that. Cool, all right. And then it's like 2 months before they're starting to like consistently convert, or even 3 months, depending on what their processes are from there. But it's like you have to look at all those different like factors. And one of the number one things that like we do internally is like we have a full map of you come in, this happens, this happens, this happens, like where can we lose people in the processes, all that stuff that our team like looks at. So whether it's with our clients or actually internally. So keep going in. Cool, let's go over some solid offers. Free back pain relief session, consultation exam, and report of findings. This is like a very simplistic one. A lot of you guys have probably seen this. Super simple offer. Once again, guys, a lot of the stuff that we will cover and go over is because it's still working today in the marketplace, and the vehicles might have changed. But I'm sure a lot of you have seen that being a part of our program. Next. $29 back pain relief session, consultation exam, report of findings. Once again, this is like your paid stuff. If you just want to do a free consult exam, you can definitely do what Z said. 5-7 minutes, quick, easy, simple. This is where you can actually go ahead and deep dive into it if you'd like. And then one of the key things at the end of the day is I think inside of your ads, you have to provide some sort of solution. The reason being is you got to think about how many times do these guys go to consultations. And that's all they do is sit through consultation after consultation. So I think it's like, how do you make yourself unique? How do you provide solutions to them? All of those things. That's why I like to say relief session, solution sessions, etc. Just because I do think that does help from that perspective, because you are actually providing the solution and you're not just giving them another consultation.
Question. What do you recommend when, so I just find that, like, for example, there's a lot of chiropractors in my area who do back pain relief, obviously, like exact same ad kind of deal. Do you recommend throw more money at it or switch to a different offer if they're running back, so just so you're not, I don't know, like go where there's less competition?
Yeah, so you can do one of two things with that. The number one, the easiest way is just how do you make that patient worth more to you so you could spend more? Dan Kennedy quote from there too as well, whoever could spend the most to acquire the customer wins. And the only way to do that is by making the customer worth more. So you can have similar ads. If you want to stand out and be different, it definitely does come down to your creatives too as well. There's frankly only so many offers maybe you could put out there that there's so many of, back pain people in my area or whatever it is. It's like, so is everywhere else. I think that's part of the problem is, there are the issue people have to overcome is like, every time I hop in calls, it's like, Dan, there's so many chiros, so many PTs in my area. It's like, cool, there's also those in that area too. What's the difference here? It's like, you learn how to be able to spend $200 and still be profitable on their client, because the chiro can only spend $50 or whatever it is because he doesn't know how to be profitable with his patients. So if you could spend more to acquire, then that just becomes obsolete from there, if you ask me. We compete against the same stuff. Like there's so many companies doing similar things to us, and there's only so many ways you can offer the same thing and make it sound different and unique from there. What are you going to say, dude?
Yeah, not obviously no name dropping, but you can give a recent example of somebody within the program. You can understand the numbers that this person could have been very profitable on ad spend. I'm going to just give an example so people can.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, Z, you actually talked to this person. So this doc, we hopped on a call. It was month 4 into the program. He or she spent a total of $1,200. So he or she spent a total of $1,200. What we figured out, she spent $1,200. She acquired 11 patients. It came out to be $111 per new patient. And we were actively decreasing the cost of acquisition simultaneously. So the last 2 months were about $70, I want to say, $75 from there. We had a full discussion. He or she said, hey, I feel like I'm spending too much money on this thing. It's like, you acquired 11 people. How are you not profitable off of spending $1,000 and acquiring 11 people? I go, your business has to be fundamentally flawed then, because you aren't being able to provide and get them worth more, right? So what was happening is it was an insurance cash hybrid, hybrid. He or she was mostly insurance, and she basically didn't know how to convert people into the cash or the ongoing services from there. And her cost of patient was about $700, $750 through insurance. And if she was able to get them, I broke down the math with her. I go, Doc, if you get all these people to add an additional 3 or 2.5 visits per person, you would be at X number of dollars, which would make you so much more profitable, XYZ thing. But it was the same offer, it's just, you gotta make it more profitable. You gotta figure out the back end sales process, etc. A lot of times what people talk about, and even in our space, it's like, the front end isn't where you make your money on the back end. The front end is just to cover the cost of acquisition and labor. Once that person's in your ecosystem though, then they come back in and it's like, cool, you didn't have to pay another $100, $200, $300 to get that person through your doors, right? So like acquisition costs for us could be anywhere between $2,000 to $3,000 or $4,000 depending what month it is and what time of year it is, frankly. And basically when it's in that time frame, it's just like, well, then we have commissions, labor of acquisition, or ad spend, etc. All these other expenses that everyone frankly has, just in different line items. And it's just how do we get everyone to be worth more? It's like, cool, we need to create better services so people want to stay longer, etc. And the first 4 months, 6 months, whatever, is just to wipe our cost. And then we can become super profitable after that. So I view the first time they come with you, wipe costs, get them back in the doors the second time, that's where the profit is at the end of the day. So, I don't know. It's just figuring out ways to really make that patient worth more, because there is so many ways that you could say the same offer in different ways, I guess. So, and also just do images. I mean, just create a shit ton of images. I think always solves a lot of problems. Just creatives, because all the platforms are just getting more saturated by the day. So.
Can you speak to the images?
Yeah, let's go. Nah, it's later in the thing. That's cool. Alright, solid. Alright, keep going. How do we market to the right audience? What do we offer them? Go on. Remember our audiences, current and past patients, referrals, community, and we're going to dive right into one. Let's pick an audience. We're going to pick our current and past patients. When we look at our current and past patients, there are so many ways that we could get them to be, keep going. There are so many ways that we can actually get back in touch with them. People don't like it, some people like it. I'm a big fan of newsletter, whether it's mail or whether it's email. If it's way more cost effective to be email with it. However, I think it's huge just to let people know what's going on. A lot of times people just like to work with businesses that are like active in the community and doing stuff, not the business that's just stagnant and sitting there. So I think getting active in the community or letting people know, hey, we're gonna be at this thing, or hey, we're doing this thing. For instance, Eric just set up a huge patient appreciation day a month ago, and you guys had like 80 people come out. So just a massive way to get people back through, and you didn't view it as like, hey, I'm gonna acquire all these people. It's like these people just know us more and they're gonna come back to us later on because of this. So it's always staying in that omnipresence mode. Postcards stay top of mind, text messages. Once again, if you wanna be super, cost effective, let's say for whatever reason, text messages, email newsletters, just make it work. Really, that's what it comes down to. A lot of times it's like, these are different ways of doing it, and then figure out what works for your area, right? It's gonna be testing different things. You could find an online newsletter simply. Don't make it like a Target ad or a Kohl's ad that hits your email. Make it, nice and have it framed. Go on Canva, make something nice. Either someone in your office can do it. Have it where it's a basic section where it's a logo. Here's what's going on at our office. Here's where we're gonna be. Here's an offer. Here's a client win. Just make it super simple from there. And that's all it has to be. And all you're gonna do is email that once a month or bi-weekly. Once again, we're just wanting to stay top of mind as much as possible. Keep going. Let's dive deeper into past patients. More specifically, people who haven't been in the office in the last 120 plus days for whatever reason, discharges and drop-offs. So how do we get them back on the books from months prior? Pretty simple. Easiest way, mass text with an offer. I say this a lot. I think this is killer. Once again, we had a client that just sent out a mass text and she had like 15 new schedules off of it, brand new, Tara Kinney. Brand new, just signed up like last week, 2 weeks ago. We did a reactivation with the campaign with her. She got 15 people on the schedule from it. So if you're not utilizing your list, it's just you're missing out on a huge, huge potential.
What kind of offer would you put on that text message?
So you guys have your types of patients are a lot of people that just like you get them better and then they move on, right?
Yes.
How many of those patients also run into other issues? A lot,
We've had quite a few.
right? So I assume there's a good amount that run into other issues. So I would do something that's super basic. You could either do a pain offer, like a pain consult, hey, screening, etc. You can do something different in the office. So we had one clinic that had all sorts of different services. One of the things being IV, and she's just like, cool, we're just gonna blast everyone with an IV offer. So can you do something different? That's another way too. It's like, hey, we have this new thing. I think the biggest thing is we have a lot of people that I'll hop on the first call with, and they're like, all right, Dan, I have this. I go, cool. How many of these people? And then they choose like the one high-end thing. I'm like, cool. How many people even know you offer that? And they're like, well, not many. I go, why? And they're like, well, we tell them as they come in about it. I go, cool. Why don't we just tell everybody at one time? And then we blast it out, and it's like, cool. And all of a sudden, they have these consultations for high-end services or whatever it may be. So it's definitely putting an offer out there that makes sense and that you can convert off of with that too. When it comes to it. So an exact offer, it really is just like, what can you guys offer that may be different, maybe people don't know about, that you think could be beneficial, etc. I feel like you have something to say, Eric.
Yeah, so like October's National Physical Therapy Month, so each week we have a different offer. So we're doing, what did we do week 1? We did our stretch program week 1. Hey, I think we discounted the packages a little bit, so to get people to re-up for that. Last week was red light offer 50% off packages. This is it only. People are like, oh, I'll get a new credit card Monday. Sorry, Monday it's done. That's a new offer. And then dry needling is going to be next week. So I'll probably offer, and I'll go over it tomorrow, but we charge $99 a session for dry needling, but picking just anything where they might need a little bit, like, so you could do like a pellet offer, like, hey, come on in, we're doing a special on testosterone pellets or injections, and just pick a reason. So like Halloween, like you want your lips to be bigger, perfect time.
Reason why
Halloween.
The reason
like
why.
that. What?
The reason why. We're reaching out
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
XYZ thing.
So there should always be like, I think every month that you send some sort of mass text. You don't want to bug them completely, but at the same time, if they're not gonna opt in and they say stop, then whatever, they're gone. So
What did you say?
PRP.
yeah.
Zero cost, huge regard.
Yep.
That's the easiest.
Yeah, if you do PRP, I would bless that out at least quarterly, just saying like, hey, pick a time, Christmas time, perfect PRP.
Cool.
Now, is it PRP for pain relief, or is it more for cosmetic? And
Our office, we're just currently like ortho based.
oh,
Yeah, so it's not pain relief.
because I know they're using PRP for cosmetic and hair growth. I don't know if it works. but-
Yeah, we do it in our office.
Yeah?
It works.
It works for hair growth too?
Yep.
Oh, good. I might be stopping by.
How's that for an ROI?
I'm happy I made it with your wild to come see. Keep going, Ant.
The reason why text, I think this is very important because I still have to sell people on why they should text people. This is all done based on intelligentcontacts.com. But basically, 81% of American population are texters. Roughly, that equates to 259 million people. The average text per day by group, as you can see, people of all ages text. And the biggest reason is because over 97% of all smartphone users have texted within the last week. So people are actively on it. And honestly, my grandma has a smartphone now, so I assume everyone has a smartphone by now when it comes to it. So when that 97%, you just take that out of the 259, and that should be about how many people actually text within the last week from there.
Alright guys, before we finish out this video, hit the subscribe button below. This way then we can keep bringing you really amazing content just like this.
I have a question about that.
Yes,
So one thing we did was we sent out a text, not with like an offer, but just like, hey, PT month, we're doing challenges, check them out on our Instagram. We got a lot of people like, oh, cool, thanks, and some stops and some stuff. But our Instagram has significantly grown this month just from doing a weekly challenge,
Okay.
And it's something that's difficult, like the first time, and we're taking these challenges from other Instagram accounts. It's not like we're originating anything. We're stealing it from other people. So, but like first week we did like pick up a piece of paper with your mouth standing on one leg. The next week was stand on a balance board and roll a visual ball around you. I was the only one to do it. This last one was hold a visual ball against the wall while laying on your back with your legs and then switch. I couldn't do that one, but my staff could. So we didn't do an offer, we just said, check it out, share with your friends so you can do it. Is that something you recommend? It's helped grow our Instagram account. We haven't received anybody coming in, but we had some. We did at the beginning of the month. We did like an annual anniversary offer, and we got like 10 people in for that.
Yeah, I think that is very clinic unique based on revenue per dollars that you're already at in a given month. And the reason why is as you have more revenue to play with and say like, you don't need a patient tomorrow in order to pay your bills, you could focus at that because that's more of a branding play. We're just gonna get a bunch of followers, we're gonna build a brand, stuff like that, we're gonna look legit. I think that's super, super cool. I think people are in that space where they're at good profitability, they're making money, and they're okay with investing time and effort into a brand. Super, super cool. A lot of times what I kind of promote to our clinics, and it's just because of the average clinics we work with, being anywhere from $10,000 to probably $50,000, $60,000, is sometimes you just don't have the playroom. It's like we need patients like next week or else we're screwed, type of deal. But if you have the money and the time to invest into building a brand, and you're not worried about where the next patient will come from, I think it's worth it because people will eventually roll off, or people will see your stuff, or they'll check you out on Facebook or Instagram and they'll see you're more legit when it comes to it. Because when people do click on like ads, let's say, they might not directly click on an ad, fill out a landing page, they'll click on an ad, they'll go to your website, they'll go to your Facebook page, they'll go to your Instagram page, and then it's like, cool, these people are legit, I want to go work with Evan when it comes to it. So I think it's good if you have the bandwidth to do it and not having to rely on, do I need a patient tomorrow to pay the person next to me? So I think that is very clinic specific.
I need to do more stuff like that. So what I've done in the past, and I just haven't had time, is like pair with another business in the community down the road. So like a shoe store, and they're going to, I don't know, give a discount on their shoes, and then you do some sort of challenge. You got to tag them, tag you, and follow you or whatever. You can definitely generate momentum. And then what I used to do too was I would join these groups or follow people on Instagram, and I would direct message every single person, and I would not, there's no hard sell, it's just, hey, I'm Eric, here's what I'm looking to, here's kind of what I do, if you need anything, thanks for the follow. So just something simple like that can go a long way, but like what Dan said, it does take time.
It takes, building a brand is it's a long-term play. I mean, it is, frankly, right? And it's good to have a brand by all means, but like I said, as long as you're not worried about where your next client is, and then you can focus on that brand simultaneously, or you can focus on the brand then, I think that's always massive. But if you're worried where the next patient is, it should be like, we need patients first, create flow, and then you could just, once you have flow coming in, then you can start to build the brand on the side. But maintaining that flow while diverting attention is always the hardest part for any person, entrepreneur, etc. Because the moment you take the eye off of, hey, we need patients, it's like that drops, and then you're back into the cycle of trying to say we need patients from there. So I think that's always the hardest part. But I do think building a brand is super important. Why text? You have a 99% open rate. That's literally the only thing that matters on this whole thing. Gonna be honest. That and people reply. Text are read, go back. Text are read, text receive a response. That's literally the only type of things that really matter on a stat standpoint is like 99% open rate. Your emails are getting like 2 to 5%. 10% if you're good. Go on. Send them a short text that have direct offers and give them a reason to respond. Everything I talk about, guys, is always going to be about offers, direct response, getting people to respond, because that's the only thing that really at first matters to drive the business growth simultaneously, and then you can focus on the brand side like Evan was saying. Few things to remember. This is your past patient list. They already know you, like you, trust you, which makes this sales process a lot easier. When people tell me that they get responses and then they get schedules from their past patients and then their past patients don't show up, that you should look internally and ask yourself why. Why are these past patients of mine not showing up? And look at your systems and processes, because sometimes there might have been something that happened with that patient, try to figure it out. Once is a, I forgot the saying, but once is an anomaly, twice is a pattern. So making sure you're looking at that when it comes to it. But if you're not getting people in the doors, look internally. What I'm about to show you gets around 10% response rate, 65% schedule rate, 70% show, 80% convert. These are averages and goals that we reach for. Mind you, these numbers do depend on the clinic, the list, etc. When it comes to it. But as long as your list is good, up to date, these are the numbers you should be hitting or at least shooting for when it comes to it when we text our past patient list from there. If you have not texted your list in a long time, you will not get these results. I can almost guarantee it, because people are going to either A, not have their number anymore, they might have passed away, etc., or B, they just don't even know who you are anymore. By the numbers, past patient list, we get have 1,000 people, 100 response, 65 schedule, 45 show, 36 people convert. So, what is the text? It's all the text that you guys have all in your clinic captains. So, I don't divert from any of this stuff, guys. Like I said, everything I talk about is everything that we provide to you, because this is the stuff that has worked. It's tested. Just try and get it to go. So, hey Joe, it's Dan from Stealth PT. Just want to let you know we got 5 vouchers to get a complimentary pain screening this week. I can reserve one for you if you'd like. I don't expect them to last, so hurry and text yes. Go on, it's broken down a little bit more. Call out the patient if possible. Clinic captain does this. Don't have to worry about that. Next. Tell them who the heck you are. A lot of times people just don't know who's texting from what number, so make sure you do tell them who they are. I'm sure all of you have received a random text with like, click this link and receive this thing. It's like, who the heck is this? Go on. And then enter your offer, make sure it's enticing. So at the end of this, really after, just want to let you know, we're doing X, 5 vouchers, whatever it is. This is just where you insert your offer. This could be because it's PT month, because it's Halloween, because it's X, we're doing X. So that's really how it's written from there. And then just tell them how to respond. Once again, telling them what to do next. Tell them what to do next. People don't know what to do next, so you have to tell them what to do next. Ways to improve the message. Like I said, reason why. Give them a reason why you're doing the offer. Labor Day, back to school, Christmas, St. Patrick's Day, etc., Halloween. Cool part that we all live in the US, and every single month in the US, it's basically some sort of holiday, it feels like. So there's something every time of year, whether it's back to school, whether it's 4th of July, start of summer in June, Memorial Day in May, etc. You could do an image testimony to prove that you are legit too as well. Prove your point. I think those are always cool. And I don't have any, I could show you one that we use too as well, but basically you could take a Google review. The easiest way to do it, take a Google review, open up a Google Sheets, put your Google review in the middle, put your logo up top, screenshot it, that becomes your testimony that you put in a text. Super simple. Doesn't have to be crazy from there. Mechanism, the reason why we can offer this type of treatment is because of a new machine, new method, etc. I think this is super cool if you can insert it at any point in time, because we're able to help people with, because we got a brand new 5-star state-of-the-art doohickey, we're able to help people with X thing. So it kind of tells you like, oh, this cool new item, what's this about, etc. It kind of creates that intrigue when it comes to it. All right. That's current and past patients. Let's talk about referrals.
Dan, what's better, in a nutshell, a Google review, written review, or a video testimonial?
I like video testimonials better.
So should they be on our website? Should they be sent via text? Like, what's the dissemination point of that?
When it comes to the text message, sorry.
No. So there's a few people we have a really good written review. Yep. And then they like, you're not putting me on video, right? Yep. We haven't signed video release and everything else. But like I say, is it better to send out in the way you described there with the Google, putting the Google review? Got it. That or a video? So in that, you're going to have to use a Google review or some sort of other picture, because you can't send videos, or if you do, it just takes forever to upload, because you'll have to upload it from your phone into the Go High Level app, and then you can send it out from there, which is just a big manual process too. Or you put them on landing pages with a link.
I do a Bitly link.
Yeah, or you can do that, and then Colin has something too.
Just to knock Mike over your question on people not being comfortable with video. I mean, Dr. Z, I know that you're seasoned better at this kind of stuff. That's so when,
Yeah, I literally, if someone in the room says, you know, if I walk in and, how you doing today, this is the best I've ever felt.
Yeah, like,
I can't believe what
thank
I've
you for mine.
done.
Yeah.
Walk right out.
I just wanted to
I go
show
back,
you
I've already
a
got
little
it
video
on, then I walk up
of
to him, I'm like,
just
all right, I know your hair's not perfect, but can you say that again? That's what I did. And they're like, wait. I'm like, I'd rather look not prepared. You know, I just hammer right, don't even ask, oh, can I video?
URL is the www.
As soon as they say this is the best ever, I walk right, I'll walk out of the room, grab my phone, and come right back in. I'm like, I gotta get that on video. I'm like, do it with the same enthusiasm. I'm like, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
We throw them all on
I've
YouTube
got hundreds
to avoid the like upload issue. We throw them all on YouTube, and then you're getting SEO content, and then you can throw it on your website
Yeah.
as well. And
Yeah.
you just send them the link. Hey, look at what so and so said. So, and then I revert back to those YouTube ones when I've got someone who's like on the fence of whether to join or not. Hey, this person reminded me exactly of you. Send them the YouTube link. And when you use that, like, hey, this person reminded me exactly of you, that connects with them as well.
And if you want, what you can do too, because are you sending people straight to YouTube?
I just send them the link.
Yeah, what you can do too, another option is if you want to take the time, you can create a landing page on Clinic Captain, put your logo up top, put their name, a little blurb, and then the video there too as well for that. For the actual, this thing's in the way. But for the actual video, you can put the video in the middle, logo up top, kind of the summary, the little highlight words like that, right below it. So.
Another option is free PRP for video test. Again, $1.45 for $1.50 for an injection.
Sweet. All right, referrals. That's what we're going to dive into next. Doctor offices. So we have doctor offices, we have gyms, we have running stores, and then advertising online. So with referrals, guys, I like to dive into kind of all these different things, the local businesses, like Eric said, creating the partnerships. I'm huge on creating partnerships in different ways with your local community. So if you can create a partnership within your community, in general, you're able to build relationships, have referral partners outside of the norm. So I think that is huge. I'm still, once again, I'm going to be pushing it. This is all stuff I enjoy pushing because I think it works if people work the system, able to build it. We did an exercise last year, Z. We're doing the same exercise today. You two did this too, where we send out an email really quick and see if we get a response, and Z got a response last year. So go ahead and next. Doctor offices. I'm not going to dive into it based on what Mr. Burton told me about everyone here. Oh, never mind. This was part of a different presentation. Next. So power partners. I forgot I didn't get rid of that slide for this one. Power partners. Go. Next one. Power partners are our running stores, gyms, anything in between. Literally just think about who has the people that my patients are at, hanging out with, who has the ideal patient, how do I get in front of them, how do I make connections? How do I build the relationships? Stuff like that truly, truly, truly does matter. So this is once again one of those ways that if you don't just only want to spend money on advertising, you could look at these other options too as well in order to get people in the doors. So building relationships, you build your brand, you go out into the community, you become the guy, you become the business, you become what I like to call basically the mayor of the town without having to deal with all the nonsense. So that's what you can do. All right, exercise. Everyone who has a computer, laptop, anything like that, we're going to take 3 minutes. Or actually, I said this went home. We're actually going to do this now. I switched the slide. I was going to do it at home, but we're going to do it really quick. Exercise. We're going to take 3 minutes. Write down a list of many stores as possible or businesses that your potential patients are hanging out at. So we're going to take 3 minutes. We're going to do that right now. Up in Google Drive. Or you can just adjust this out. Alright, we're gonna do this for 1 more minute. It'll only be 2 minutes and not 3. I'm sorry. We'll do it for 2 minutes. Make a list, guys. The reason why this is important is just like when you guys go to doctor's offices and try to build relationships, you cannot just go to one doctor's office. You need to go to 20 doctor's offices. Same concepts. You just want to get in touch with as many people as possible. So just sit there and think about who has my ideal patient. Where do they go? Do they go to the Pilates studio down the street? Do they go to the running store down the street? The gym, etc. Alright, next. So once you write down a list of places, you go to their website, keep going, find the owner, if possible, on there, grab their email or best email, and basically we want to grab as many from a site as possible. What's cool is if I go to some of your guys' sites, I'm sure, I could find probably a direct email to somebody that is going to lead it back to you in some fashion, in some way. I'm just going to send everyone Mark's email, and we're going to go from there with it. Keep going. Put their email on a Google Sheet next to their business name. The reason why is we want to be able to sort this out. We want to be able to easily tell who the business is that I'm emailing, put them in a list, things along that nature. Keep going. Email them with a message or similar to this. Oh, actually, sorry. Click that link. Click the link. Go next. Click that link. So there's just a link to a short video of actually how to do it. We can all watch Alex Ramosi afterwards. You just yell at us and tell us we're all bad. Open this up all the way. Open this up all the way. Keep going. One more. There we go. Okay, whatever. It's close enough. All right, guys. So I guess I am. So basically, I was looking up Naperville CrossFit gyms in Naperville, where I'm from. Went down the list. As you can see, this is what pops up if we look for CrossFit gyms. I went to Google Sheets. Opened up a Google Sheet. Probably should have did that first. Didn't, but it's okay. We're going to put in the location name. We're going to put into the business owner's name. Or their email. Phone number. Put in the location name. Go down to CrossFit 630. This is how easy it is to find local businesses' emails, guys, by the way. So, we go to our team, find Coach Nate. He's the first guy in line, he's probably the one in charge. There's a little bio about Coach Nate. He opened up his the gym back in 2018, does it say? I can't see it from here. So he's probably the guy I want. We can go ahead and try to find Coach Nate really quick. I'm also going to fill out these forms at the bottom. So those forms, a lot of times those info forms, if set up properly, will actually lead somewhere. I blow those things up. And then look here, we found a @Gmail account. Those @Gmail accounts, those are the ones that work all the time. That's what I found out. People still use Gmail accounts as their business emails, and let me tell you, those things work. Coach Nate, that's my man. Location name, CrossFit 630.
Most of the time you can hit F12 if you're on the website. It's got a send email now. You can read the code and you can actually
grab the email. Let's go. I was always wondering how my VAs would always get emails so fast from me from places. Cool. Go back, Anthony's that slideshow up top. So it's as easy as it is to really find emails for local businesses. It's when we scrape lists and we hire VAs to do it and stuff, we just go on people's websites similar to that, and we just find the best list possible, and we just create it and go down, down, down. Next. Cool. The email is simple. Hey, Coach Nate, my name's Dan, owner of Stealth PT. I want to send you some people. Work with a lot of patients who are looking for a great gym, running store, etc. Like yours, are you up for a quick conversation on how I could send you some people? Please respond back yes if you're open to the quick combo. If you don't want to go after the nature of, hey, I'm going to send you somebody, that's perfectly okay. You just got to figure out, the very first question is, what's in it for them? That's always the first thing. People innately think what's in their best interest. And if you work within the context of, Joe's only going to worry about himself, you will not go wrong in life. Big believer of that one. So, always asking yourself, what's in it for them? So you just got to find a unique offer. If you're like, hey, we don't have a lot of people, or hey, we don't have, XYZ, just ask yourself what is in it for them. Alright, now we're going to take a few minutes. If you can find on your list one of those local businesses and just shoot them that email. We'll go back really quick. Anthony. Shoot them the email. Go down their website. Find their email. Send them an email. Just 1, 2. We're not actually going to take a full 5 minutes. I said 5 minutes last year. Dr. Z got 1 email off, then I got yelled at.
That guy still works. That guy still works with me.
Hey, there we go. See?
I said to him, I just reversed it. I said, a lot of the people from your gym come to my office. I'd love to meet you. So you're the man, not me. Let's get together. So
there you go. Different way of thinking about it. So we'll just do that for a minute or two. Pick 1 or 2 businesses that you want to email really quick. Once again, guys, the whole goal of this weekend is to just give you actionable stuff that we can walk into next week better than we came into today and tomorrow. Alright guys, we're going to do this for 1 more minute. We're just running, like any good event, running a little behind, right Mark?
So have you ever heard anybody just doing the play, like when you're contacting these folks, like, look, I just want to know about you and what you do. I'm intrigued. Like, I think just say up front and like, I don't know if it's going to be a direct flow relationship.
Yeah.
Let's get to know each other, and if we have common people in common, like we just know what each other does.
I'm not opposed to that. I think more than anything, like any way you want to go about it, I think the biggest thing is reach out to all the people, send the emails, and just start making contact points. And then from there, the relationships will naturally form. It's just having to do as many as possible when it comes to it.
So you're saying some people are hesitant about being able to send you people because it's not like you know, if you will, or
yeah. Some people just don't, like we work with, like I said, we work with the clinics like you guys that, do a million-year run rates, and we do work with people that are like 5K per month or less. So you just don't know if you can have that open of a relationship to start out. So they ask me questions about it.
And do you necessarily have to put the please respond back yes? Or is that just
Yes.
goes into a column?
No, you have to give them a call back.
The next step, that's part of that, and you might have, I know you stepped out real quick, but it's all about giving them the next step. Tell them what to do next. Because if you don't give them a call to action, they're just going to read this, and most people are just going to be like, okay. But if you give them this just subtle, 1 word, and it's only 1 word, this is all you have to do. You can put yes, you can put save, you can put please, you can put whatever.
I've started, just because I'm eccentric, I choose a weird word. like reply back with hot dog, or reply back, we did a homeschool thing, and I said reply back with unsocialized. And people find that to be memorable.
Fair enough, yeah.
I might steal it.
Yeah,
Just weird words, yeah. I mean,
well, a weird word that's relative to,
the context of it.
Yeah, so like, if it was, Eric, who do CrossFitters hate?
Who do they hate?
You know they hate somebody. Who do they hate?
Doctors? I don't
Yeah.
know.
So then you say reply back with doctors suck. or whatever, you know, and then,
To elicit the emotion.
They hate running.
yeah.
That's all we did.
Well, most of them.
That's all we did.
Yeah, you picked the wrong day.
That's all we did.
We do that when we do applications. So
Yeah.
if we're looking for somebody, please reply back with, in the subject line, so I know they actually read the whole thing.
Yes.
And it's not a blanket.
Yeah.
And you eliminate 90% of the
Yeah.
people when you do that.
With haste, cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got about 30 more slides, 40 more slides to go to. So we're going to get moving here just because Colin and I have to do a secondary presentation as well. And then I'm going to answer your question, Eric, about the pictures though when we get there. So if you guys do have other questions, write them down. We will do a Q&A, everything at the end, all of that fun stuff before we go eat for lunch and everything along that nature. So once the replies start, go into who you are, who you help, see how you can build a relationship, find the common ground, like you were talking about, Eric. Don't make it weird. Just find out how you can actually help each other. A lot of times people just get weird. It's just like be your natural self. Don't be different. Don't be any of that stuff. Just like, hey man, this is what I do. This is who I help. I think it would be a cool relationship. I know you might see some people I see. I might see some people you see. Do you want to see if there's any common ground there? Anything along that nature. But just make it really relaxed because it's just a relaxed conversation. It's not anything that, like, if you don't build this relationship, it's death or anything like that. So make it really relaxed.
What percentage of replies would you say you get on these?
Low.
Real low.
Yeah, you probably get like 5 to 10, probably 10%. If I'd be honest with you, 10%, 15, somewhere in there.
So I
5
did
to
this
15.
kind of on my own a couple of weeks ago with just some PI attorneys in the area, like only within like a 2-mile radius of my clinic. And I got one reply out of like 15. So I just wondered if that was
Yeah, so like 10, yeah. That's about what I would say. 1 reply out of 15 for a PI attorney is probably really good, because I bet you those guys are...
And what do you need, implementation?
Yeah, I mean, I referred somebody to him, and so
Yeah.
we went to lunch together, and I think it'll work out. I already sent somebody to him, so
Yeah.
he'll respond back.
Exactly.
They usually really do that.
So,
Especially if you said first.
keep going.
Yeah.
Softwares that you can do this at scale. Clinic Captain, you can upload a list. I don't necessarily highly suggest it. It's possible. Inbox rates are just not that great all the time with this stuff. Going through Clinic Captain, because it's a mass server type of deal. There's a company called Woodpecker, woodpecker.com. So if you do want to just insert a bunch of emails and upload lists, Woodpecker, or you could go to email.io, I believe is the one we also used to use. Those are just 3 different ways that you could do. Just download a bunch of lists, upload, send a bunch of emails. Online advertising. All right, guys. So let's dive into that. This is going to be a little bit of fun. We're going to talk about 2 major ones here. Keep going. We're going to be talking about Facebook and TikTok. So there are 4 kind of key people in the social media world when it comes to kind of local business marketing. You do Facebook, TikTok, Google ads, YouTube ads when it comes to it. So those are going to be the 2 that we mainly focus on in this conversation. And we're going to see Dr. Mike's face in this too. Facebook advertising. Oh, he's not here. He sat down. All right. So key component here is we do not create desire. We channel desire to create a conversation and create curiosity. We do not create desire. Desire already has to be there, whether it's to get better, whether it's to fix their pain. We just have to channel that and create a conversation about their pain. So the desire to fix their knee was already there. You just have to have the conversation about how we fix your knee. Go. All right, so we'll talk about the ad, landing page, thank you page. We won't really touch on that much, but folks, basically ad and landing page will be the main things here. Keep going. The objective here, so I'm going to break down Facebook ads once again. Hopefully everyone knows this by now. But objective, we're going to click, actually it's not conversions anymore. In some accounts it's conversions, some accounts it's leads, one or the other. That's the ones you're going to select. Targeting, 5 to 10 mile radius. We're going to go over the image, the headline, the hook, the body copy, and how we get the click. So images, basically, these images still necessarily work. Our number 1 images still to this day are images that are anatomy based, all that stuff. It's been that way for the last 2 years. I foresee it going into next year being okay. If you want to be different though, when you take like photos for instance, so when Eric Broadworth uses photos, I started to tell him because he used to send like 3 or 4 photos. It's like, dude, we need 20 photos or 30 photos or whatever it is. And we started to send more photos. But it's just like the weird images work, different things like that. Like one for one of his stretch ads is him pulled over to the side, and then you have Nicole in front of him. So it's just like weird ads like that, different things, but it's catching multiple angles, catching, your area is a little bit different though. I've tried so many photos in your area that aren't anatomy. It's tough.
Does that picture still work for a lot of people?
Oh yeah.
That was our #1 for so long, and it legit does not work anymore.
Oh, you probably saturated the area. You gotta let it go for a little bit and switch up campaigns, duplicate. Yeah, your area. I've tried so many photos you guys have sent, and the best photos still are the anatomy photos and all that stuff when we try and test stuff.
Ours are always the anatomy.
Yeah, anatomy photos.
And our X-ray photos.
X-ray images?
are good.
Yeah. Yep. We ran a foot and ankle one, and the #1 foot and ankle one was actually an X-ray image of the foot and ankle. So, keep going. So if you do photos though with your team or people, bunch of photos. I focus on photos more than videos. Videos just have so many other things going on a lot of times with videos. Meaning that if it's a 20-second video or a minute-long video, literally you have to break down every part of that video. What's the opening, what's the middle, what's the close like, etc. And how do we go from there with it? All right, headlines, go back. Headlines are the words below your image. It's considered the headline. The headline should be either direct or indirect response. Direct headline is free back pain relief session. Indirect headline would be how back pain sufferers are getting better naturally. So we'll look at an ad here in a minute and it'll make more sense of where exactly the headline is. But this should be also helping people capture attention. This is actually the second most important thing on your ad when it comes to Facebook specifically. The hook, this is the very top of your ad. Hooks can call out your audiences. Start with a question, call out the area. But form some sort of curiosity and why they should even read the next line. So we'll talk about it in a second here, but we'll talk about what the goal of each line of copy actually is for. Body copy. The goal here is to get the click. Each thing within the ad is to get them to read the next thing in it. Goal of line 1 is to read line 2. Goal of line 2 is to read line 3, and so on. The body copy is where you'll insert your offer and the benefits of what you do and the offer itself. All right, let's put it together. Image. This is the most crucial thing. Most crucial. Think about like a newspaper. All your most exciting images are at the front of the newspaper right before you have to fold it open. Images are the most crucial. This is what gets people to stop. Remember, we have to interrupt their day because it's on Facebook and they're not actively searching for you. Headlines are down here. This is the next part. The goal is to get them to stop, click on the next thing, look at the headline. If they like the headline, go to the next thing. They'll look at the hook, next. These are multiple hooks. So go back. So hook, knee pain sufferers, next one. We're calling out Oshkosh specifically. Go on. And then the body copy. The body copy, once again, is the goal of them to read each line one after another and say, hey, I want this thing. I'm interested in XYZ thing. And then we get the click out of it. So once again, our goal is to get them to read the next line, next line, next line, next line, and so on.
Hey Dan,
Yes, sir.
what's your guys' take on the what they call, I forget what they call it, but the emotional hook one, meaning it's lines and lines of storytelling.
Yeah.
And their thing is that if you get the person to read all through that, they're going to be a higher, more qualified patient as opposed to just a quick 5-second. But if you get that person who's, telling, what I'm...
Yeah, I understand. You're just showing a big story about XYZ. They're going through the pain, etc., etc., etc.
Do you think that more in that realm, more content does lead to a higher quality patient if they actually connect with what all the garbage that's been written there?
It could, but your total throughput can drop.
Okay.
Because when that does happen, you get the bigger drop off of reading the ad copy, so people don't want to read it, right? And people are like, well, then this person's more qualified. It's like, cool, but your acquisition also doubles or triples, depending on what it is. So like I ran surveys for a person, we were running surveys like a week or two ago, and he emails me more recently, and he goes, hey Dan, my cost of acquisition is like, $600 or something crazy actually for what it's just basic chiro services. I was like, yeah, I told you this would happen because you wanted to run surveys and you didn't want to solve the true problem, which was your sales issue, right? But in this sense, I mean, I think you're correct by saying it leads to a better patient, but does your total throughput drop? Is going to be the next part of that question then.
Okay.
Because do we get too many people who don't read the story and then not get the click and then not get the lead and then not become XYZ
You
thing?
read them?
Oh,
You find a long one, you read it?
If it's something that's interested.
Yeah, I usually start scrolling after.
Oh, yeah.
It's too much.
yeah. It's the same.
You have
I
10 to
like
15 seconds to get someone's attention online. It's like
Probably
super
less than
quick,
that.
but yeah.
I would say just do your.
My wife's in marketing too, and she like hates when I put out like longer stuff. She's like, people don't want to read that; they just want quick. But I definitely see what you're saying. I like to test both of it though. Like test it, write out a big thing, see how it
That
works.
was the old school guy out to Don's. He would have these emotional bullshit stories. They were 10 pages long, but like out of curiosity, I'm like, oh, I can see how somebody could get hooked on this. But I mean, I agree.
And you know him, so you know.
I think you have to also come from like what's a layman's approach versus the doctor approach.
Yeah.
That's one of those things
And
too.
a doctor knowing it's a doctor that wrote it, then you're more compelled to read it.
I think that's the biggest thing is a lot of times people suffer from that, like, because school doesn't help you with it. I mean, just being engaged to a PT, I mean, I could just tell you how awful that schooling is. That they don't really compel you to, think about the marketing side or think outside of just like putting your analytical hat on and like, oh, this is intriguing and all this stuff. And by all means, I find some of it intriguing, but Kayla could go on and on and on, and she loses me after a while because I just don't care enough. I'm not gonna lie.
They don't even teach you how to treat, they just teach you how to evaluate.
Yeah.
It's a broken system for sure.
Yeah. Mike, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
What about qualifying questions, just to weed out the people that are just scrolling and doing the autofills? Like, if they get to that landing page, could we set it up where it can go to those questions? It's like, have you been suffering?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you have
So
to
it'll
be
be a
careful with
survey.
your word on Facebook, because I'll knock you out.
It would have to go through like a survey. So if you want to put in your ad copy, are you suffering from XYZ thing? So I go back really quick. You can put it in your ad copy here, like here, right? But if you actually want them to fill stuff out, that would fall into like the survey realm, and then that would fall into what's our total throughput out of it. I say it's always worth a test and a try to have that happen, but you always have to think about or just look at then from a very like analytical hat, from like a numbers perspective. Did my throughput increase or drop? It's like, yeah, I got this one really good patient who's awesome and comes back consistently, but it's like, cool, we got one and you love this person. That one can't be the deciding factor for how you're going to run this thing. That's how always I look at it. So like, you can do it. You can do almost anything. The hard part is it's just like, what are the numbers and the outcomes out of that thing?
Has anyone here used those questions? Like
I
those
did
qualifying-
surveys.
Like a
My
qualifying
numbers went down.
on the landing page, on the ad?
Yeah, they had to fill out like 2 other forms, and I think it's just
Throughput.
tired of filling stuff out, clicking through it.
But the ones that did they
But
sign
then when
up?
I did it this way, I got more results because they could read it rather than have to fill everything out, and
Like just like 3 questions, just to know that these people are serious.
Three too many.
Yeah.
You'll get more phone calls though. And then on the phone calls, when you can then kind of
You can
sort of
ask
sit
the
people out
question.
a little bit more. But you'll get people who may be qualified that if we had too many barriers of defense for them to even become a lead, even though they were qualified, their attention span anticipated, and you didn't even have a chance to talk to them. So that's what I mean by like the throughput stuff. Where it's like, you're kind of giving in a little at the start to which you can get a little higher value. That's why you're not putting out like an offer for $200 because you might get somebody who absolutely would have bought had they actually came inside your doors. But because we put a $200 sign as a barrier defense before they knew who we were, we don't even get the chance to roll them into something that we want to. That was a quiet.
because we're thinking about it, we're processing it.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that's pretty good.
I have 3 quick questions out there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that comes to the next question about, do you put the 2737 or the free, which one's better? Because if someone's going to not pay, and I know Eric had said this, that if they're not going to pay $37 or $27, they're not going to want to pay $6,500 for a neuropathy program.
I disagree.
You disagree?
Disagree.
Oh, that's why I was asking.
Yeah, because well, I was busting her chops before about the make a decision because we've talked about it, and I don't mind doing a double pattern.
Mm-hmm.
We've had patients on Medicaid drop 14 grand. If a $29 Because they look at it, this is what we go back and forth on. They see a $29 booking fee. I'm not doing this, whatever. Free eliminates all barriers, and then we're back and forth, or we're just getting, we're not doing tire kicking. This woman could barely write, Medicaid, and we did knees and hips regen med for 14 grand. If we had all these other barriers, we never would have seen that patient. That's kind of, and that's what we go back and forth on
What's
every
your
show.
show rate though? Like, do you get a bunch of no-shows with the free? That was always my issue.
Our no-show rate is what?
So our no-show rate is probably half. We book a ton of appointments each week and about half of them show. We probably have anywhere from 10 to 14 patients walk through the door a week right now.
Is that all of them leads though?
All of the leads.
Yeah.
All of online leads, like Facebook?
Yes.
You probably spend a lot on ad spend and all that. Like, I just don't know.
Well, technically they do, but they were able to make a patient worth
Right.
more to them, so they're able to, right? And that's what it comes down to as well. So it's simultaneously being able to, you could spend more if the patient's worth more, right?
Right.
So that's also part of it. So there, you can get away with spending, you could spend $100,000 a month in advertising if the person, or if the people you're getting are worth $500,000, right? So like, that's all that matters when it comes to it. So they're able to figure that out. Sorry,
And
Shayna.
if you're good at what you do once they're through the door, getting them through the door is the hardest part.
Yeah.
Like just having them show up. If you're good at explaining and selling whatever it is you're about to sell, then the rest of it kind of takes care of itself. But just getting them through the door is, for us, is the biggest. And we're a very new business, so we spend a lot more on advertising just because people don't know who we were a year ago.
But just figure out real quick, like what your average cost is of collections for the patient that you're advertising for. Because I advertise for 10 different things in my office. So like a regen ad, you can spend more on it because more is going to come back. So do you have a number in your head, or Dan can walk you through it on, what is that cost of acquisition and what you shouldn't go over? Because you might be okay with, as he said, spend the total amount of your first visit. Like, are you willing to give that away for free? So that way, if your first visit is a $200 visit or $250 visit, who cares if that gets them in, because then visit 2 is 100% profit. And you want to work down from there to get it down to $50, $20, $10. But in the beginning, when it's a new business, you have nobody walking in your door. Who cares what it costs? You have to allocate a certain amount of money, but cost per person for what type of treatment they're getting. So if I'm doing a Botox treatment, it's $189. I can't spend $200 to get them in. But I might spend $189 when I'm started to get them in the door because I know if they're happy, they're coming back in 3 months. So you're building your 3-month product, not your immediate.
Right.
So that's how you have to kind of work the numbers. So the dollar amount really, as Dan said, doesn't matter. Yes, you still have to write the check, and it sucks. But if it's generating, 2x, 5x, 10x, that's what your goal is. Everybody gets caught up on, I can't spend $5,000 a month on advertising.
Right.
Well, if you're going to make $100,000, can you spend $5,000? Oh, now it makes sense. You might not be able to spend $5,000 if you're going to make $5,000, but then in the beginning, you might have to take a loan to spend $5,000 to get $5,000, because then visit 2 or whatever else they're going to do in your office, now it's 100% profit. It's just a matter of getting them in the door.
Gotcha.
Awesome. Sorry.
We had some issues with the show rate, whether it was 29 or free, and we interjected an actual line in our sales process, if you will, ahead of time. Look, this is being offered to you once. If you no-show or don't cancel within 24 hours, this isn't available for you anymore. And just kind of like
That's in your call? That's in your phone call?
That's in our call.
Oh, that's good to know.
And our staff, our front desk staff loves doing it because they don't like it ghosted any more than we do, right? So
I don't want to take
Does
this
that
away from
say
you,
that in
Dan.
your ad?
No,
When
you're-
you do the call.
when we do the call,
When you do the call?
yeah,
If you no-show or don't cancel in 24 hours, done.
you're not going to get this free. This is
What
a
about
special
having a
offer.
credit card on file and charge them a fee? That's what we were talking about.
I think we played with that too. I just think administratively, it just
People don't want to do it.
what
I
I
did
did
that, and I had less people, they don't want to put their credit card in.
Right.
there's no trust there.
Guys, we have lunch in like an hour and a half. If you guys can save it, talk about it. We have a lot of time together, guys. We're gonna be best friends. No, you're fine. So what we're gonna do though is we're gonna get through the Facebook side, and then I was just talking to Colin. We have the TikTok part of this, but we're gonna move that to the end. That way we can get through the front desk stuff and kind of keep things a little bit on track. I'm sorry, that's just the hardest part about this stuff. is just trying to keep everything on track. Especially last year we had like 4 people, and now we have more, so more input, which is good. But it's just always trying to make sure that we stay focused and get to the finish line at a decent time frame too as well. Alright, so Black Hat Tricks, guys, if you're ever wondering like what ads to run, if you ever want to figure out different things to do, you can go to this thing called the Facebook Ad Library. You go to Google, type in Facebook Ad Library, and then it'll bring you to the Facebook Ad Library, and you can type in. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit subscribe button below, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.